Hi there, and welcome to the 58th episode of Career Stories Live. So today I'm joined by Kayleigh Fryer, who is the Events and Belonging Coordinator at Reading Students Union, and also a photographer gigs and many other things that you're going to talk about. So hi, Kayleigh.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No worries at all. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. So I saw you speak at an event at Reading Students Union about punk and queerness, and I was really impressed by the event and, the presentation that you gave. I just thought it was really, really interesting, which is why I got in touch. So please do comment, anyone that's watching, to let us know that you're here, where you're joining from, and feel free to ask any questions or share your experience in the comments. If you're watching on replay, same thing, and we will go through and answer those later. So just a very quick background. So the basis for these lives, I've always been really interested in what people do and why they do them, like learning about different roles and career paths. And the aim really is to inspire thought about what people could do and to give people advice on places to source information. And usually my guests share kind of a bit of information about how to source information. So with all that in mind, Kayleigh, could you give us a brief intro into you and what it is you're doing right now, work or study-wise?
Yes. So my day job and the bulk of my time is I'm the Events and Belonging Coordinator at Reading Students Union, as we said. What that means, because I'm aware that sort of role description, role title doesn't really tell you much about what I actually do. Half of my job is focused mostly on running and organising our equity, diversity and inclusion calendar. So we met at a Punk Queerness event, which is part of our LGBT History Month offering. So I organise all of those activities, from Black History Month to Disability History Month to LGBT History Month to Women's History Month, that kind of stuff. And then other key sort of dates through those times. So International Women's Day, Trans Day of Remembrance, National Stress Awareness Day, which is November 22nd, I think. We get all of those sort of dates that we think are relevant to students, or students have asked us to run events for.
Okay.
And we do stuff for them, whether that's socializing or music. I always try and put music in places, connecting people with other people, doing stuff in the local community, bringing the local community to campus. It really varies year on year and what students ask us to do. And then the other half of my role is we have 11 part-time officers who are student volunteers, and they each represent a different underrepresented group. I have not found a simpler way to say that sentence yet.
Okay.
And I organise them. I do their induction and their training. I manage all of their projects. I event lead their events, and I sort of look after them throughout the year, from when they start their post over the summer and we do their training up until the next year summer, where they sort of finish. So that's the bulk of my daytime. And then after work, I usually end up going to gigs. I'm a big gig fan, and I'm a photographer as well. So I go and take lots of photos of lots of different bands. I do some promo shots and portraits as well. And then, as well as that, I co-run a publication called Out of Rage, where it's like a heavy music publication, but we have a community attached as well, because our goal is to get more young people into the music scene, either as photographers or reviewers or interviewers, anything really that we want to get people involved in. So yeah, that's kind of the bulk of what I get up to.
Yeah, that sounds so interesting. I've got so many questions, but I'll stick to my planned questions, but I might come back to those. But I'm just really interested in the 11 students that you've got working for you. So do they go through like an application process and all of that kind of stuff to do those roles?
So they're elected. So they're part of our sort of student union structure.
Yeah.
We have a trustee board. We've got our 5 full-time officers who are like our sabbatical officers, who are also trustees. And then we have like full-time employed staff, which I'm part of. And then we've got student representatives. So academic reps who are course reps and senior reps, they help students kind of represent and give feedback about their courses. And then you've got sort of my group of students who are elected in the spring to start the following academic year.
Right, okay.
So they give us a manifesto and a photo that we put on the website. They campaign. So they put posters up, they go around and talk to students. They've got to try and encourage people to vote for them. and then we have voting open for a week, and then after that, all the count gets automated and everything, and then we get told who's been elected for the following year, and then we start getting in contact with them and delivering training and sort of ensuring we know what they want to do for the next year.
That's excellent. So it's a really good experience, even just kind of standing for the position, isn't it? Even if you don't get it, but yeah, doing that kind of voluntary work for that year is going to look really good on CV, isn't it, and help you with jobs.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, volunteering is something that I've done a lot of, and I at university ran to be a sabbatical officer unsuccessfully 3 times.
Right.
But I was also committee for a few different societies, and I was on an executive board for my University Students Union, and sort of that experience of being able to talk to different people, different members of staff, different students, put on events, deal with budgets, sort of really put me in good stead for what I do now and what I want to carry on doing in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So early careers, and I do know the answer to this already because we just chatted a bit offline. But so, did you have a job whilst you were at school or college, and if so, has that helped you?
Yes. So I got my first job when I was 16, and that was working at Superdrug. And I think retail is a great first job. It sucks. The general public are horrible in the nicest possible way. But it really does give you that sort of experience of being confident, talking to people, managing your time, looking at after sort of a lot of different moving parts. You're stocking shelves, and then you're on the tills, and then you're talking to customers, and then you've got like a meeting, and you sort of develop a lot of skills that you don't just through studying. I think it makes you more well-rounded and respectful of people who do work in those positions. So yeah, started there, and then I started at Historic Royal Palaces, which I did for 7 years, and I was a public engagement assistant there. So I worked on the half-term and holiday like kids activities. So sometimes I was just support staff, sometimes I event managed, and we did everything from Henry VIII Summer School, where we did a series of activities. There was staged fights, there was games, there was puzzles, there was like a scavenger hunt around the palace, to the Limp Bunny Hunt, where we give out maps and we have to go check on the bunnies around the site. And yeah, just helping sort of kids of all ages, sort of 5 to 16 is our main demographic, enjoy their time when they come to the palaces. And as well as that, I've kind of tutored on and off, probably, since I was about 17 as well. And I think they've really helped me not get bored, mostly, have money, which is great, and be able to kind of buy food and go out to the pub with my friends and not have to worry too much about those kind of things. But also, they've given me the experience of managing my time as well as studying and doing other things, which means that I'm really quite happy with balancing my time and doing a lot of things now. And I think, they've just been, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now if I hadn't started doing those things then.
I agree totally about the retail. It totally shows my age, but I worked in Woolworths, and I would echo everything you said there about dealing with the public, particularly at Christmas time when it's very high stress, and you just learn how to deal with people. I don't think there's much that can beat it. I guess working bars probably similar, but retail hospitality, I think definitely they're good grounding. And then the palaces is so interesting. That kind of related into your school subjects as well, didn't it?
Yes. So I started it when I was doing my A-levels, and I did English literature, history, and product design.
Okay.
Which is always a rogue one. It throws people off. I wanted to do English literature, history, and philosophy. But for some reason, philosophy clashed with English. So my choices were maths or product design. And I was like, let's have some fun and make some stuff and go in the workshop. And so I chose product design. So now I could make your bookcase as well as kind of do research on Alexander the Great if you wanted.
That's really cool. I mean, and it's so bizarre that those clashes still happen, doesn't it? I know that happened when I was at school. I ended up doing economics, which was a complete wrong choice for me. But it's really tough, isn't it? And actually, I know when my kids were, my oldest was choosing sixth form, he ended up going to a college rather than staying at the sixth form because there was more scope on the timetable for that. So I think that's another important thing, isn't it? If you're really determined on those subjects, you might need to look further than you would like to, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I didn't think about when I was like 15, trying to choose my options.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went with what I knew and what my friends were doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. And did you enjoy the product design course?
Oh, I loved it. I really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. It was such a small class. There was 6 of us at the start. There was 3 of us at the end,
Oh wow.
which was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. We got
Yeah.
to use lathes and laser cutting machines and like heat bend acrylic and chisel stuff out. It was great fun.
Oh, that's cool. And that's the thing, you're picking up new skills you never even knew existed, aren't you? That's the thing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really good. And I guess you would have had a lot of essays as well, though, hadn't you, if you'd have done philosophy as well?
Yes.
Okay, so degree subjects then. So how did you choose your degree subject and the university you were going to?
Yeah, so I chose my degree subject first.
Yeah.
So I did English and history for my undergrad, and that was largely because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do English or history more.
Okay.
So I chose both because
Yeah.
why
Why not?
not?
Yeah.
And then that did help me choose a university because
Yeah.
not everywhere offers joint honours. So
Yeah.
I could narrow that down straight away and go, okay, joint honours. I wanted to stay in the south, to stay sort of near my friends and family,
Yeah.
and didn't fancy having to get like 4-hour trains anytime I wanted to do anything in
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
Um, and it kind of helped having still working at historical palaces of being like, oh well, I need to be south so that I can still travel and do like get some extra
Yeah.
money over the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
So I looked sort of, yeah, Oxford and below.
Yeah.
I initially looked at Oxbridge and doing
Yeah.
that, but then the end of year 12 was a bit rough for me, so I decided not to put that pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I did beat myself up for it for a little while, but then I started uni and I made friends, and like I'm happy with the decisions that I made at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I sort of whittled it down and down, and my top 2 choices were Southampton and Royal Holloway.
Yeah.
And I went and saw them on back-to-back days, and Royal Holloway was just so much warmer, and there was more of a community atmosphere. And I sort of walked onto campus and went, "This is somewhere I can spend some
Yeah.
years of my life."
Yeah.
Um,
It's a beautiful campus, isn't it?
it's gorgeous. I highly recommend if anyone's in Egham, just go and visit.
Yeah.
Because it is stunning, and you can walk through campus, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I did English and history at Royal Holloway for my undergrad, and then when I finished that, I started a master's at Royal Holloway again in public history.
Okay.
Didn't finish all of it,
Okay.
but I finished enough credits to get a postgraduate diploma, which I am very happy about.
Yeah. Excellent. And I think you touched on something really important there about the whole Oxbridge thing, and you beat yourself up about it. But I think it's really useful to try and tell yourself that you made the decision that was right for you at the time, and not spend too much time beating yourself up about it, because, you know, it's easy to look back and think, oh, I wish I'd done that. But you made that decision for a reason, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it
yeah.
can feel like there's a lot of pressure on all sides, from teachers, from family, from yourself, but at the end of the day, you've got to do what's right for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you consider anything else other than going to uni?
I didn't. I from when I was 5,
Mm.
I my dream was I'm gonna go and study, and I'm gonna go and be an academic, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna go and I'm gonna teach, or I'm gonna be a professor. Things have changed since then, but
Yeah.
my path was always academic to a certain point.
Yeah.
Like I looked into doing, or I looked into the options that were available when I was like 16 looking at universities,
Yeah.
but nothing stood out to me enough to kind of go, okay, I'm going to sack off university for now
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but university is definitely not for everyone. Like I met some of my closest friends at university. I also met some people who were great people, had a lot of drive, but the structure in the academia just really didn't suit them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really important. And I guess in your role, do you meet people that maybe regret going to uni or are worried about it and then leave?
Yeah, oh, hugely. We
Yeah.
get people who will stick it out the 3
Yeah.
years, but then look back and go, "Oh, I wish I did an apprenticeship, or I wish I went straight
Yeah.
into work because this hasn't really changed the trajectory of what I'm doing. We get some people who go 6 months and it's too much, or it just really, they don't vibe with it. We get some people so as part of my role, we volunteer and help out with move-in weekend.
Okay.
So when the students are being dropped off by their parents, or they're coming up by train, or they're traveling in with friends, and they're moving into their dorms for the first time, and we help them move in and like direct them all around. And there are some people then who are like, I don't think this is for me. And some of them don't stay past welcome week because they go, no, I can't do it. So I think it's really tough because half the camp are very like strong-willed, and they know before they even show up, or they know when they're being told to apply by their colleges whether or not it's for them. But I think for a lot of people, it's not until they actually show up and go, oh, okay, no. It's really hard to tell. It can be hard to tell beforehand.
Yeah, the reality is just too different to what they imagined, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I suppose people changing courses, I think people don't actually do that often, but that is something definitely to consider, isn't it? If you maybe it's the course that you don't like. So
everything's flexible to a certain point, as long as you like. The thing that I'd say with university, as soon as you think about doing something, ask someone about it, because even if you're not sure, they'll be able to tell you the timeline. So if you're like, I really like this, but I don't like this, and you're looking at changing module or changing course or changing where you live, the sooner you can bring it up, the sooner someone can go, okay, you've got 3 weeks to make that decision, or you've got 5 days to make that decision. And I think the mistake that a lot of students make is leaving things until they've decided to then ask, and then being told by academics or advisors or support staff that, oh, you've missed the deadline for that, or, oh, you can't do that again until next year. And then they're kind of stuck in this limbo of having to do something that they don't enjoy. Because they were like, oh, I want to wait till I'm sure. But having those early conversations can be really helpful.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Okay, so your first role after university, what was that, and how did you find that?
Yes, so this is my first role after university. So working at Reading Students Union is my first post-uni proper job. All jobs are proper jobs, but this is my first kind of not alongside study full-time job. It was hard. The job market is difficult, especially when you're coming straight from university looking at work. When I started applying, I'd just extended my master's, because my aim was to finish it. But then with master's loan, you only get for 1 year, so I couldn't afford to. So I was like, well, I need to look for a job if I'm going to try and at least continue to do this. I had to move in with my nan, because I couldn't afford to live in Egham anymore. So I was living with my nan, I was still trying to study, and I was applying for jobs. And I applied to about 60, 65 different places.
Okay.
I got 3 interviews. And Reading SU was the place that offered me a job. And at that point, I was like, yes, thank you, I will take it. When I got employed, it was part-time. It was slightly different to what I do now, but not massively, like still in the same sphere. I worked 3 days a week. I commuted from West London to Reading for 2 or 3 days a week, and it was rough. I don't recommend doing it the way that I did it to anyone, but I stuck it out for a year. I made loads of friends. I started going to gigs. I got into the Reading music scene, and after a year, I went full-time because we restructured our department, and I could afford to move to Reading. And that's sort of where I've been living in Reading for just over a year now, and working at the SU for 2.5 years. I found it with a lot of struggle. It was largely through just job search sites, Indeed and LinkedIn, and looking at the jobs on there. And then I remembered some of my friends had mentioned Reading University, because I was on Royal Holloway's Rock Society committee, and we did joint events with Reading's Rock Sock.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'll look and see if like Reading SU has any jobs, because I'd worked at Royal Holloway Students Union, so I sort of
Yeah.
knew what they were about.
Yes.
They had a position open, which was student engagement coordinator, welfare and development.
Yeah.
My time shorter since, which is great. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
That got an interview and got offered the job, and was very, very grateful.
Excellent. So again, another example of how that volunteering helped you because you had that experience.
Yeah. Oh, massively. I think without kind of being on committees and volunteering at uni, so I did a few tours, I did mostly committee work as well. But then I also worked as a student voice assistant in our Students Union office, and I was a
Yeah.
student ambassador. But I only got those jobs because of my experience volunteering and sort of knowing the people that I knew. So
Yeah.
even if it's an hour a week, I highly recommend picking up just some voluntary experience.
Yeah. 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 And anyone that's watching, if you have a look at Kayleigh's LinkedIn profile, there is so much volunteering stuff on there, and I suspect there's probably more that you haven't even recorded on there. But you know, ranging from tutoring pupils to the greyhound welfare, and the secretary metal, and so how do you pick who you're going to volunteer for?
So it's a lot of it has been sort of happenstance, and just because of I was engaged in different things. With Go Guiding, I started volunteering because I was a brownie, then I was a guide. It's that natural sort of progression of going,
Yeah.
oh, well, I've done this and it's benefited me. Let's become a young leader so that it can continue benefiting other people.
Yeah.
So I did that for a little while with Wimbledon Greyhound Welfare. My dad decided one family holiday that we were going to get a dog when we got home, because he wanted a dog, and he wanted to get a French Bulldog initially. And then he looked into them and realized how terrible their breathing is, how many health problems they have. So he started looking at other dog breeds, and Wimbledon Greyhound Welfare come up, and he was like, that's too good to be true. They say you can go and walk these dogs and you can just go and hang out with them. He was like, nah. Looked into it. We went down just to sort of go and walk the dogs. About 6 weeks later, we took a greyhound home, and then we started volunteering. So they go out and do meet and greets at places like Wimbledon Tennis, or just like Windsor High Street, different fairs and festivals across the year. And we take these packs of greyhounds out, and because they are lazy, they just lay down, and then all the kids go over and stroke them and sit with them, and we raise money for the charity there. And I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, that is so lovely. So you do seem to have like a really amazing work ethic. So what is it that drives you to do that?
That's a good question. Largely boredom. I hate being bored.
Okay.
It makes me feel so unproductive and restless and stressed. So I like filling my time with things, and I like things that I care about and that sort of match my values. Like I can't see myself ever working for a place that is actively engaged in bad things. I'm going to keep it light touch there.
Yes.
But I like being able to support people. I like being able to help people develop their own skills. I like being someone that people can look up to and come and talk to, and like being well connected. Really, it satisfies my ego a little bit as well, of being that person that people are like, oh, can you put me in touch with so and so? And I'm like, yes, I can. Nice. I like being able to be there for people and satisfy not being sat bored at home. So having day job, night job, and other bits to fill in the in-betweens.
Yeah, that's good. So that kind of goes on to my next question about how do you balance all of that then with your photography and your publication and your job and all of that?
Calendars, Googling out the color-coded notifications, alarms.
Yeah.
If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist to me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I had to start doing at university, because otherwise I'd get told like 3 hours later, hey, weren't you meant to be at that thing? And I'm like, oh, yeah, but it wasn't noted down anywhere, so I missed it. So lots of calendar organisation.
Yeah. I remember you saying at the event that you worked quite well to pressure, and you were in fact just finishing the presentation just before you went up to speak. So is that something that's been common
Yeah.
throughout your whole kind of academic career as well?
Yeah, I'm currently trying to get diagnosed with ADHD
Right.
because I think a lot of the symptoms sort of match up with how I
Yeah.
am as a person.
Yeah.
And yeah, that pressure is a big motivator because if something is 3 weeks away,
Yeah.
it's essentially so far in the future that I can't kind of actualize
Yeah.
that it's a thing that needs doing
Yeah. Yeah.
until I get close to it and go, "Oh, no, that's a thing that's happening, like, in 2 days. I should probably get some work done on that."
Mm.
But yeah, I'd made all the notes for that presentation in the morning when I was sitting freezing cold
Yeah.
outside because I forgot that it was a Sunday and our building wasn't open yet. And I was
Oh,
sitting on the
no.
bench outside, like, doing research. And then, yeah, because I was running the event as well, I had to go and make sure that everything had started off and that everyone was happy and okay before
Yeah.
I could sit down and sort of type the presentation up while I was watching the band and taking photos of another
Yeah.
band. And yeah, and then I finished it, connected my laptop to the stage, and was like, "Cool, good to go."
Off to go. Yeah, the thing is, I think sometimes it helps with the nerves, doesn't it? You haven't got time to get too worried about it because
Yeah,
you're up there doing it.
yeah, no time to think. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So we talked about the volunteering work and why you do that, but you also do a bit of unpaid work, don't you, with your publication? So, why do you do that if you're not getting anything from it at the moment?
Yeah, so with Out of Rage, which is the publication that I help run, we do it unpaid because it's something that we care about.
Yeah.
And it's something that we wish we had when we were slightly younger, of
Mm.
someone out there who was looking out for. So, context, Out of Rage is a heavy music publication that I co-run that has a community attached to it, and our goal is to get more young people into the music industry, whether
Yeah.
you want to be a photographer or a reviewer, an interviewer. Kind of, if you're in a society like a rock and metal or a music society or a band society at university, we want to give you opportunities to like get more involved and do more things.
Yeah.
When we were at university, there wasn't really anything for us. A lot of the times that we went to gigs or we were trying to um, do things like break into photography or break into the music journalism side of things, a lot of the other managers did student radio. You go, and everyone else there is a 50-year-old white man.
Yeah.
And so unpaid work it's a lot of pressure because we live in the time and the economy that we do, and things are getting more expensive and time is
Yeah.
getting more stretched.
Yeah.
But we think it's so necessary to have representation in those spaces and have people there that you can sort of look and go, "Oh, they look like how I look. I
Yeah.
want to go talk to them about what they do."
Yeah.
If we waited until we got paid work to do that, we wouldn't have been able to do anything that we
Yes.
managed to do over the last 2 years. We've been to Download, we've been to Boomtown, we've been like all across the country at different gigs and meeting different people and getting new people onboarded to do photography and journalism.
Yeah.
And that just wouldn't have happened if we'd have waited until we got like a fund or worked
Yeah.
for another publication and got paid to do it.
Yeah.
It gives us a lot more freedom,
Yeah.
and we can choose the direction that we're going in. We can choose the type of people that we want to reach out to, which again we wouldn't be able to do if it was paid or if it was organized by
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah. That's good. Good answer. So from everything you've talked about, it definitely seems community and belonging is something that's really important to you. And you mentioned that in terms of your values. So what advice would you give to someone who's nervous about meeting new people or feels that they don't belong? So I guess in the context of students starting uni or even starting their first job.
The first person you talk to is the hardest,
Yeah.
and you realize how easy it is after that. So it's that cliche thing of once you do it once, it's easier to do it again.
Yeah.
But it's true, and it's
Yeah.
really true. Like I am very good at public speaking. I'm good at talking to new people, but there are still times where I go, "Oh, that's like someone I really admire," or "That's someone
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's something that I really want to do. I don't want to mess this up." And I still get nervous talking to people, but it's just taking that first step and remembering that they're also a person, and
Mm.
they also probably don't like talking to new people. in
Yeah.
one way or another. They might be confident about it, but they might still be nervous about tripping up their words, or they might have had a really stressful day and like might be worried about coming across as brash or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. Like, everyone has their own life going on in their head, and that interaction with you, as long as you're positive, is going to be nice for them. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, making that connection with another person before you try and connect with them as like transactionally
Yeah.
is really key. So say hi, ask about their day, ask if they've done anything interesting this week, if they've
Yeah.
got any plans for the weekend,
Yeah.
and then you can go sort of trail into what you actually want to talk to them about. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think just saying hi goes a long way, whether that's someone you see across a smoking area at a gig, or whether that's someone who's wearing really cool trousers in the
Yeah.
street and you're like, hey, I really
Yeah.
like your trousers.
Yes.
That's all it is. Those little interactions can help you practice for like bigger conversations that you want to have with people. And yeah, don't
Definitely.
be afraid if people sort of brush you off. That's one person, and
Yeah.
they're not the end of the world.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point about the nice trousers thing, because people very rarely give compliments. So when they do, the person that's receiving it really appreciates it, and
Yeah,
kind
and
of
you
feels
remember it.
noticed. And yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, that's all really good advice. So final question then. So what advice have you got for students who have got no idea what they want to do next?
Ooh, talk to people.
Yeah.
To as many people as you can, whether they are your course mates or your lecturers or people at Students' Union, bartenders at your local bar,
Yeah.
shopkeepers at your local shop. Talk to them about what they do, what they wanted to do, what they wish
Yeah.
they could do now,
Yeah.
just because it gives you so many ideas and different connections and pathways to go into. And I
Yeah.
think volunteering ties in with that as well. If you're a course rep or if you're on a committee, you just expand the people that you know and the people you interact with
Yeah.
exponentially. But yeah,
Yeah.
talk to everyone. Talk to me.
Excellent.
Come say hi.
Oh, that's good. So, yeah. So, if people want to connect to you, is that okay on LinkedIn?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Kayleigh, for joining me today. And thank you to anyone who's been watching. And as I said at the beginning, if you're watching on replay and you want to ask questions, please do, and we will come back to them later. So thanks again. And I'm back next week when I'm chatting to Oscar Raithling, who is on a mission to bring Gen Z to LinkedIn. So looking forward to that as well. Okay, so thanks again, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.